The champagne glass was halfway to her lips when she heard her name cut through the ballroom like a blade. Not spoken, screamed. Tracy Morgan froze. The crystal stem trembled in her fingers. Around her, conversations died. The string quartet faltered. 200 heads turned toward the source of the disruption, and her stomach dropped so fast she thought she might be sick. She knew that voice. God help her, she knew it. "Tracy Morgan!" Jimmy Wright's voice boomed across the marble floor, dripping with venom and satisfaction. "There you are, sweetheart. Thought you could hide from me?" Her champagne tipped. Golden liquid spilled across the white tablecloth, spreading like a stain she couldn't stop. She set the glass down too hard. It cracked. Don't look. Don't give him the satisfaction. But her body betrayed her. Her head turned. Jimmy stood near the entrance in a custom tuxedo that probably cost more than 3 months of her rent. His arm was wrapped around a tall brunette dripping in diamonds. His smile was the same one he used to wear right before he'd corner her in their apartment. Right before his voice would drop to that dangerous whisper. Her chest tightened. The air in the room felt too thick. She came to this gala for one reason: desperation. Her current job as an administrative assistant at a failing marketing firm was barely keeping her afloat. She needed connections. She needed someone, anyone, to give her a shot at something better, to prove she wasn't the failure everyone thought she was. This was supposed to be her chance, her one night to show she could belong in rooms like this again. Now Jimmy was going to destroy it. "You all know Tracy. Right?" Jimmy's voice carried across the ballroom like he was giving a toast. Guests shifted uncomfortably. A woman in emeralds whispered to her companion. Phones came out. Former forensic accountant. Brilliant career ahead of her, until she got caught stealing from her clients. The words hit like a slap. "That's not true," Tracy said, but her voice came out too soft, too broken. "Embezzlement, wasn't it?" Jimmy continued, walking toward her table with theatrical slowness. His date followed, lips curved in amusement. Fired, blacklisted, destroyed her whole career because she couldn't keep her hands out of other people's wallets. Gasps rippled through the crowd. A man at the table beside her stood abruptly and walked away. The woman across from Tracy pulled her purse closer like Tracy might lunge for it. Heat flooded her face, and her hands shook. This was it, everything she'd worked for these past 6 months since escaping him. Gone, burned to ash in front of everyone who mattered. "Stop." Her voice cracked, but she forced herself to stand. Her chair scraped against marble. Every eye in the room locked on her. "You need to leave, Jimmy, now." He laughed, cold, cruel. The sound used to make her flinch in their apartment. It still did. "Or what, sweetheart?" He stopped 3 feet away, close enough that she could smell his cologne. The same one he wore the night he shoved her into a wall because dinner was cold. "You gonna call security? Tell them I'm harassing you? We both know how that story ends." Her nails dug into her palms. "I'm asking you to leave." "You don't get to ask me for anything." His voice dropped, but somehow it carried. "You're here pretending to be something you're not. Look at you. That dress probably came from a clearance rack. Those shoes are scuffed. You're not a guest. You're staff, aren't you? Serving drinks to people who actually belong here." Whispers erupted. She saw a woman lean toward her husband, eyebrows raised. Another guest pulled out their phone and angled it toward her. They were recording this. Her professional death was being filmed for entertainment. "I belong here," she said, but the words felt hollow even to her. "No, Tracy, you don't." Jimmy stepped closer. His hand shot out and grabbed her wrist. His grip was iron. "You belong exactly where I left you. Broken, alone, worthless." Pain flared up her arm. She tried to pull away, but he held tight. His fingers dug into the exact spot he used to grab when he wanted to remind her who was in control. "Let go of me." Her voice shook, but she didn't look away. Wouldn't give him that. "Why?" His smile widened. "You used to love when I touched you. Or did you forget all those nights you cried and begged me not to leave?" The room blurred, tears threatened, hot and humiliating behind her eyes. No, not here. Not in front of them. "Jimmy, please, please." He yanked her closer. Close enough that she could see the rage simmering beneath his perfectly styled exterior. "You filed a restraining order against me, got me banned from your workplace, tried to ruin my reputation. And now you're here, playing dress-up, pretending you're not the thief everyone knows you are. I didn't steal anything." The words ripped out of her, louder than she intended, desperate, raw. "I was framed, and you know it." His hand moved to her throat, not choking, just resting there, a threat, a reminder. The ballroom gasped collectively. She shoved at his chest, but he didn't budge. 6 feet of muscle and entitlement. Her strength was nothing compared to his. "You'll always be nothing," he whispered, just loud enough for the front tables to hear. "No job, no future. No one will ever want you after what you did." Her vision swam. She was losing. Again. Always losing to him. Then she felt it. A shift in the air. A change in the energy of the room. To her left, the man who'd been sitting silently at her table the entire evening moved. His fist clenched, his chair scraped back. He stood. Jimmy's hand was still on her throat, his fingers pressing just enough to remind her how easily he could hurt her. But every eye in the ballroom had shifted. The stranger moved into her peripheral vision. Tall, dark suit that probably cost more than her entire wardrobe. His face was carved from stone, expression unreadable except for one detail that made her pulse stutter. His fist, still clenched at his side. "Remove your hand." His voice was quiet, controlled, the kind of calm that felt like standing too close to a cliff edge. Jimmy's grip loosened, just slightly. Tracy felt it. He recognized this man. "Mr. Cross." Jimmy's voice had changed, the arrogance drained out of it like water through a cracked glass. "I didn't see you there. This is just a personal matter. Nothing that concerns— remove your hand." 3 words. Mean no louder than before, but the temperature in the room dropped. Tracy watched Jimmy's face go white. Actually white. The color bled out of his cheeks like someone had pulled a plug. His fingers slipped from her throat. He took half a step back. She'd never seen him afraid before, not once in the 2 years she spent with him. Whatever fear looked like on Jimmy Wright, she was seeing it now. "Of course." Jimmy's laugh was thin, desperate. "I was just leaving anyway. Tracy and I were just catching up. Old times, you know how it is." The stranger, this Mr. Cross, said nothing. He stepped closer, not rushed, not aggressive, just inevitable. Tracy noticed things she hadn't before. The way the ballroom staff had gone rigid. A waiter near the bar set down his tray and straightened like he was standing at attention. A woman in a red gown 3 tables over whispered urgently to her companion, and they both stood, backing toward the exit. People knew this man. And they were afraid. "I don't think you understand." Mr. Cross stopped 2 feet from Jimmy. His hands were relaxed now, but somehow that made him more dangerous. "You put your hands on her, in my presence, at an event under my sponsorship." Sponsorship? Tracy's mind scrambled. She'd been invited to this gala through her boss, who'd gotten the tickets from some corporate connection she hadn't bothered to track. She thought it was just another charity function, but the way Mr. Cross said it made it sound like he owned this room. "I apologize." Jimmy's voice cracked. "It won't happen again. I'll leave right now. We're done here." He turned toward the exit, toward safety. Mr. Cross moved. 1 second, Jimmy was walking away. The next, his wrist was caught in an iron grip and twisted at an angle that made Tracy flinch. Jimmy cried out. His knees buckled. "You misunderstood." Mr. Cross's voice hadn't changed, still quiet, still terrifyingly calm. "I didn't give you permission to leave. I gave you an instruction. You failed to follow it fast enough." The crack was small, precise, like snapping a pencil. Jimmy screamed. His wrist hung at a wrong angle. The brunette on his arm shrieked and stumbled backward. Phones came up, but they were shaking. No one seemed sure if they should be recording or running. Tracy couldn't breathe. Couldn't move. She'd wanted Jimmy to hurt. God, she'd fantasized about someone making him feel a fraction of what he'd made her feel. But watching it happen was different, visceral, real in a way that made her stomach turn. Mr. Cross released Jimmy's wrist. Jimmy collapsed, cradling his arm, gasping like he'd been drowning. "If you come near her again." Mr. Cross crouched slightly, bringing himself eye level with Jimmy. "If you speak to her, if you so much as think about her, I will take more than your wrist. Do you understand me?" Jimmy nodded frantically. Tears streaked his face, the same face that used to sneer at her when she cried. Yes, I understand. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." "You're not apologizing to me." Two men appeared from the shadows near the kitchen entrance. Dark suits, blank expressions. They moved like soldiers. One grabbed Jimmy under each arm and hauled him upright. He was still sobbing, still cradling his wrist. "Get him out!" Mr. Cross didn't look at them. His eyes were still on Jimmy. "Make sure he understands the consequences of disobedience." They dragged Jimmy toward the service exit. His date followed, heels clicking frantically against marble. The ballroom stayed silent until the door closed behind them. Then the whispers started. Tracy's legs gave out. She caught the edge of the table, but her hands were shaking too badly to hold her weight. Her knees hit the chair. She sank into it, gasping. Everything hurt. Her wrist where Jimmy had grabbed her, her throat where his hand had rested, her chest where panic was clawing its way up. A hand touched her shoulder, gentle, steadying. She looked up. Mr. Cross stood beside her, his expression softer now. Not kind, exactly, but something close to concern flickered in his dark eyes. "Are you hurt?" he asked. Her voice wouldn't work. She shook her head. "He grabbed you hard. Let me see." Before she could protest, he took her wrist in his hand. His touch was careful, clinical. He turned her arm, checking for bruising. His fingers were warm against her skin. "You'll have marks," he said quietly. "Ice will help." She found her voice, barely. "Thank you. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't—" He would have continued. His jaw tightened. Men like him don't stop until someone makes them. "I'm Tracy." The words tumbled out. "Tracy Morgan. I don't know how to thank you. I came here tonight trying to make connections, to find a job, and he just—" She stopped. Saying it out loud made it worse. "I'm Damon Cross." His hand was still on her shoulder, grounding. "And you don't need to thank me." Tracy Morgan. The name sat between them like broken glass. Damon's expression didn't change, but something flickered behind his eyes, something cold and sharp that vanished before she could identify it. She had no idea who he was, no recognition, no awareness. The woman whose life he'd destroyed was looking at him like he'd saved her. His hand was still on her shoulder when the Gala manager appeared. The man was sweating. Actually sweating through his expensive shirt despite the ballroom's perfect climate control. He stopped 3 feet away like there was an invisible barrier he didn't dare cross. "Mr. Cross," his voice shook, "I cannot apologize enough for the disturbance. If there's anything we can do, any accommodation we can provide for you or the young lady, she needs ice." Damon's tone was flat, final. "Of course, immediately. And medical attention? We have a physician on call. I'm fine." Tracy's voice came out stronger than she expected. She pulled away from Damon's touch, standing on legs that still trembled but held. "I don't need a doctor. I just need to leave." The manager looked at Damon like he was asking permission. Like Tracy's words didn't matter unless this man approved them. That look made something twist in her chest, familiar, suffocating. "My driver will take you home." Damon said it like the matter was settled. "No." She grabbed her small clutch from the table. Her hands were steadier now. Anger was better than fear. "Thank you, but I can get myself home." "It's late." Your hands are shaking. They were. She hid them behind her back. I'll manage. His jaw tightened. For a second, something flickered in his expression. Frustration, maybe. Or calculation. I broke a man's wrist in front of you. The least I can do is make sure you get home safely. You didn't do it for me. The words came out before she could stop them. You did it because he disrupted your event, because he made a scene. I'm grateful, Mr. Cross. But I'm not a problem you need to solve. Silence stretched between them. The ballroom had mostly cleared. Staff were resetting tables, pretending not to watch. But Tracy felt their eyes, felt the weight of whatever power Damon Cross carried. You're right, his voice softened, just slightly. I didn't do it for you, but I'm finishing it anyway. My car. No argument. It wasn't a request. Tracy looked at him properly for the first time since he'd stood up. Really looked. He was younger than she'd initially thought. Maybe early 30s. Dark hair styled with precision. A face that could have been handsome if it wasn't so cold. But his eyes were what caught her. Deep brown, almost black, and completely unreadable. She should say no. Should walk out of here on her own terms. But her wrist throbbed where Jimmy had grabbed it. Her throat ached, and the idea of standing on a street corner waiting for a car while looking over her shoulder made her stomach turn. Fine. She hated how small her voice sounded. Thank you. They walked through the ballroom side by side. People moved out of their path. A woman in sapphires actually stepped behind a column. A waiter dropped his gaze to the floor as they passed. Tracy caught fragments of whispers. That's Damon Cross. East Coast. You don't cross him. I heard he owns half the city. Her skin prickled. What do you do, Mr. Cross? Investments. He didn't look at her. Real estate. Import and export. That's vague. It's accurate. They stepped outside. The night air was cool against her flushed skin. A black car waited at the curb. Not a sedan. Something longer, more expensive. The kind of vehicle that screamed money and power. A driver in a dark suit opened the rear door. His face was blank, professional. Tracy hesitated. I'm not going to hurt you. Damon's voice was quiet, almost gentle. You have my word. She didn't know why, but she believed him. Maybe because he'd already had the chance to hurt her and hadn't. Maybe because exhaustion was finally winning. She slid into the car. The interior smelled like leather and something else. Cedar, maybe. The seats were soft. There was a partition between them and the driver, privacy glass. The door closed with a heavy, final sound. Damon settled beside her, not touching, keeping a careful distance. The car pulled away from the curb, smooth and silent. Where do you live? He asked. She gave him the address. Watched his expression for judgment. Saw nothing. It's the man who attacked you. Damon's gaze was fixed on the window. Jimmy Wright. How long were you involved with him? 2 years. The answer came automatically. Then suspicion crept in. Why? I want to know if this is something that will happen again. I have a restraining order. That didn't stop him tonight. She couldn't argue with that. I left him 6 months ago. Tonight was the first time I've seen him since then. I thought I was safe. You're not. The certainty in his voice made her look at him. How would you know? Men like Jimmy Wright don't let go easily. His jaw was tight, especially when they've lost control. You sound like you know him. Something flickered in his expression. Gone before she could name it. I know his type. Tracy's chest tightened. I can handle this myself. I've been handling it. Clearly, anger flared. I didn't ask for your help. You didn't have to. He turned to face her fully. He put his hands on you, in front of witnesses. At an event I sponsor, that makes it my concern. I'm not your concern. You are now. The words hung between them, heavy with implications she didn't want to examine. The car felt smaller suddenly, more intimate. I don't need protection, Mr. Cross. She forced her voice to stay steady. I need a job. I need my reputation back. I need my life to stop being defined by the worst thing that ever happened to me. You standing between me and Jimmy doesn't fix any of that." His eyes searched hers. "What if I could help with more than just Jimmy? I don't take charity. It's not charity, it's practicality. You need connections. I have them. You need your career back. I can facilitate that. Why?" Suspicion colored every word. "Why would you help me?" The silence stretched too long. His expression shuddered. "Because I can." It was a non-answer. They both knew it. The car stopped. Tracy looked out the window. Her apartment building. 5 stories of aging brick and peeling paint. A world away from marble ballrooms and men who broke wrists without breaking a sweat. She reached for the door handle. "Thank you for the ride." His hand caught her wrist, gentle. Nothing like Jimmy's grip, but firm enough to stop her. "Tracy." Her name in his voice sounded different. "Be careful." She pulled free. "I always am." She stepped out of the car and didn't look back. Her building's entrance was 15 feet away. Safety, privacy, distance from whatever darkness clung to Damon Cross. Behind her she heard the car idling, waiting. She unlocked the door and slipped inside. Only then did she hear the engine pull away. Only then did she let herself breathe. The phone rang before she could even kick off her shoes. Tracy stared at the screen. Her boss, at 11:30 at night. Her hand trembled as she answered. "Hello?" "Tracy." His voice was clipped, cold. "I'm calling to inform you that your employment has been terminated effective immediately." The words didn't register at first. "What?" "The video from tonight's gala is all over social media. Our clients have seen it, our board has seen it. We can't have that kind of publicity associated with our firm." "I was attacked," her voice cracked. "I didn't do anything wrong." "You brought drama into a professional setting. That's enough. Your final check will be mailed. Don't come into the office." The line went dead. Tracy stood in the middle of her tiny apartment, phone still pressed to her ear, and felt the last piece of her life crumble. No job, no prospects, rent due in 2 weeks, bills stacked on the counter she couldn't pay. She was drowning. Again. Her eyes landed on the wine bottle in the cabinet. Cheap red she'd bought months ago for a celebration that never came. She pulled it down, twisted the cap, poured a glass that filled halfway. Then she poured another. The wine burned going down, but it was better than feeling. Better than thinking about Jimmy's hand on her throat. Better than remembering how everyone at that gala had watched her humiliation like it was entertainment. She opened her laptop, typed her name into the search bar. The video was everywhere. 6 different angles, comments in the hundreds. She's a criminal anyway. What did she expect? The ex had every right to confront her. Who's the guy who broke his wrist, though? That was intense. She's trash. Look at that cheap dress. Tracy poured a third glass. Her hands were steadier now. Numb felt better than broken. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "I'm coming over with security to check your apartment. Jimmy sent threats. Don't be alarmed." Damon Cross. She should tell him not to come. Should say she wanted to be alone. Instead, she typed back with clumsy fingers. "Fine. Do whatever." She didn't care anymore. Let him install cameras. Let him put armed guards in her hallway. What did it matter? 20 minutes later, someone knocked. Tracy opened the door without checking the peephole. Damon stood there with 2 men in dark suits behind him. His eyes swept over her face, and lingered on the wine glass in her hand. "You've been drinking." Brilliant observation. The words came out sharper than she intended. Clearer, too. She wasn't that far gone yet. Just far enough. He stepped inside without asking. The security team followed, spreading through her apartment like they owned it, checking windows, testing locks, speaking in low voices into radios. Damon pulled out his phone. "Jimmy sent these an hour ago." He turned the screen toward her. The messages made her stomach turn even through the alcohol haze. "I can't let her be. I know where she lives." You told him to stay away. She looked up at him. At the gala. You warned him. He didn't listen. Tracy sank onto her couch. The wine glass tilted in her hand. Damon caught it before it spilled, set it on the coffee table out of reach. Your lock is broken. He nodded toward the door. I'm replacing it before I leave. One of the security guys handed him a toolkit. The others finished their sweep and headed outside. She heard their voices in the hallway, felt the weight of being watched. Damon knelt by her door, examining the old lock. His hands moved with precision. Confident, like he'd done this before. Tracy stood, walked over. The room tilted slightly. You don't have to do that yourself. Her words were careful, measured. You could call someone. I'm already here. She watched him work. The way his shoulders moved under his jacket, the careful control in every motion. Nothing wasted, nothing uncertain. Why are you really helping me? The question tumbled out before she could stop it. I told you, men like Jimmy. No. She cut him off. There's more. You wouldn't go this far for a stranger. You wouldn't have known I got fired unless you were watching me. You wouldn't have Jimmy's messages unless you were tracking his phone. His hands stilled. You're smarter than you give yourself credit for. Then tell me the truth. Not tonight. Frustration and wine made her bold. She stepped closer. Too close. Her hand touched his shoulder. He went rigid. Tracy. You keep saving me. Her fingers traced down his arm. Why? You're drunk. His voice was strained, controlled. You should sit down. I don't want to sit down. She moved around to face him. I want to understand why you care. You won't remember this conversation tomorrow. Then it doesn't matter what I say now, does it? His eyes met hers. Dark, dangerous. But something else too. Something that looked like restraint costing him. It matters. She leaned closer. Close enough to smell cedar and something darker. Close enough to see the tension in his jaw. You're different from him. From Jimmy, you're... Stop. He caught her wrist. Gentle but firm. I'm not who you think I am. Then who are you? The silence stretched too long. He released her and turned back to the lock. Hand me the screwdriver. The Phillips head. She stared at his back, then reached into the toolkit. Her fingers found the tool. She held it out. Their hands touched when he took it. The contact sent electricity up her arm. He felt it too. She saw it in the way his breath caught, the way he pulled away faster than necessary. Tracy swayed. The alcohol was hitting harder now. The room blurred at the edges. Sit down before you fall down. His voice was softer now, almost kind. I'm fine. You're not. Her legs gave out. He caught her before she hit the floor, one arm around her waist, steadying her. Easy. His breath was warm against her hair. I've got you. She looked up at him. This close, she could see flecks of gold in his dark eyes, could feel the solid warmth of him, could forget, just for a second, that she was drowning. Stay. The word escaped before she could stop it. Please, I don't want to be alone. Something flickered in his expression. Pain, maybe, or guilt. You won't be. Security is outside. I'm finishing this lock. Then you're going to bed. That's not what I meant. I know. His voice was rough. But it's what you're getting. He guided her to the couch, made her sit, brought her water from the kitchen. Drink. She obeyed. The water was cold, sobering. Damon returned to the lock. She watched him work through heavy eyelids. The rhythm of it was hypnotic. Metal on metal. The quiet competence of someone who'd done this 100 times. Why do you know how to do that? She asked. I know how to do a lot of things. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting tonight. Her head lolled back against the cushion. Exhaustion pulled at her. Or maybe the wine. Or maybe just the weight of everything collapsing. I lost my job, she whispered. Because of him. Because of that video. I can't pay rent. I can't... We'll handle it. We? He didn't answer, just kept working. The new lock clicked into place. He tested it. Once, twice, nodded to himself. Tracy's eyes were closing. She fought it, lost. When she woke, it was just for a second. Just long enough to feel him lifting her, carrying her, his arms solid beneath her. "I can walk," she mumbled. "You can't." Her bedroom was dark. He set her down on the bed with surprising gentleness, removed her shoes, pulled the blanket over her. She reached for his hand, caught it. "Thank you." He didn't pull away immediately, just stood there, looking down at her in the darkness. "Sleep, Tracy. Will you be here when I wake up? Get some rest." He tucked her hand under the blanket. She heard him walk to the door, heard it open, heard him pause. "Lock the door after me," he said to someone outside. "Don't let anyone in, not even her friends, not until I clear them." Then he was gone. Sunlight hit Tracy's face like a hammer. She groaned, rolling away from the window. Her head throbbed, her mouth tasted like regret and cheap wine. Then the memories came flooding back, her hands on Damon's shoulders, her fingers tracing his arm. The way she'd leaned into him, asking him to stay. Oh, God! She pressed her palms against her eyes. She'd thrown herself at him, drunk and desperate. He'd been installing her lock, trying to help, and she'd made it uncomfortable. Heat flooded her face. Pure, searing humiliation. Tracy forced herself upright. The bedroom door was closed. She didn't remember closing it. He'd carried her, removed her shoes, covered her with the blanket. She stumbled into the living room. The new lock gleamed on her door. Professional. Perfect. The toolkit was gone. So was Damon. She looked out the window. The black car was still parked across the street. A different driver. He scanned the street periodically. Her phone sat on the coffee table. 3 messages. "Eat something, drink water. We need to talk." D. A delivery confirmation. Food ordered to her address. Paid for. "I'm coming by this afternoon. Be ready." Not asking, instructing. A knock startled her an hour later. Delivery driver with bags that smelled like breakfast. She took them without a word. Inside, coffee, eggs, toast, fruit. A note tucked in the coffee cup. "Eat. D." 1 word. No warmth. Tracy ate because her body demanded it. The coffee helped the pounding in her skull. By the time she showered and changed, it was almost noon. The knock came at 2. Damon stood in a different suit. Charcoal gray. No tie. He looked like last night hadn't happened at all. "Can I come in?" She stepped aside. He entered with controlled energy, looked around like he was assessing threats. His gaze lingered on the empty food containers. "You ate." "I did. Thank you." She crossed her arms. "And for last night. For not—" "We don't need to discuss last night." The dismissal stung. "I need to apologize. You were drunk. You were scared. It's forgotten. I made you uncomfortable." "You didn't." His jaw tightened. "Tracy, let it go." She nodded, throat tight. "What did you need to talk about?" He showed her his phone, a screenshot of a legal letter, formal language about defamation and assault, claiming Tracy had provoked the attack, that Jimmy had been defending himself. "This is insane." She read it twice. "He grabbed me. The video proves it. His lawyer is arguing you approached his table first. I didn't even know he was there. Money buys creative interpretations." Damon took the phone back. "You need a lawyer." "I can't afford one." "I can." "No." His expression hardened. "Tracy, I said no. I'm not taking your money. I'm not becoming another thing you control." "Control? I'm trying to help you." "Why?" She spun toward him. "Why do you care this much? We met last night. Now you're installing locks and ordering food and offering lawyers. Normal people don't do that." "I'm not normal people." Silence stretched between them. His phone rang. He looked at the screen. Something flickered in his expression. "I need to take this." He stepped into the hallway. She heard his voice through the door. Low, controlled. then 2 words that made her blood freeze. "Morgan case." Tracy yanked the door open. "What did you just say?" Damon turned, phone at his ear. His face was a mask. "I'll call you back." He ended the call. "What case?" Her voice shook. "Morgan is my name. What case?" "It's complicated." "Uncomplicate it." He stepped back inside, closed the door. 3 years ago you were working as a forensic accountant. I know what I was doing. You found something. Irregularities in client accounts. You were preparing a report. Her chest tightened. "How do you know that?" "Because the people you were investigating had you destroyed before you could finish it." The room tilted. "What?" "You stumbled into something dangerous, something involving very powerful people. They couldn't let you expose them, so they framed you. Made sure you'd never work in that field again." "Who?" The word ripped out. "Who did that to me?" His silence was answer enough. "You know." Realization crashed over her. "You know who destroyed my life. It's safer if you don't." "Safer?" She laughed, bitter, broken. "I lost everything, my career, my reputation, my future. And you think I'm safer not knowing?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because knowledge is leverage, and leverage makes you a target." "I'm already a target. Jimmy won't leave me alone. I just lost another job. How much more of a target can I be?" Damon moved closer. Not touching, just present. "Jimmy was sent to watch you, after you were fired. Someone wanted to make sure you stayed quiet." The floor dropped out. "Someone sent him to me?" "Yes." "Who?" "I can't tell you that. Can't or won't." His jaw was iron. Both." Tracy stepped back, hit the couch, sat. "He wasn't just my boyfriend, he was assigned to me." "Yes." "For 2 years. Everything was a lie." "Not everything. He became obsessed. That part was real." She looked up at him. "How do you know all this?" The pause lasted too long. She stood, crossed to him. "I have a right to know who destroyed my life. Some truths are more dangerous than lies. I don't care." "You should. Tell me who sent Jimmy. Tell me who framed me. Tell me why you care." His hand moved. For a second she thought he might touch her face. Instead, it dropped. "You need to trust me." "How? How can I trust someone hiding the truth?" He moved to the door, opened it, turned back. "Jimmy wasn't just your boyfriend, Tracy. He was sent to watch you." His eyes held hers, dark, unreadable. "And he never stopped." Then he walked out. Tracy stood frozen. The pieces starting to fit together. Someone powerful destroyed her career. Someone sent Jimmy to keep her silent. And Damon Cross knew all of it. The question was why. Tracy couldn't stop thinking about what Damon had said. Jimmy was sent to watch you. She stood in the middle of her apartment, staring at the door he'd walked through. Her mind was racing, connecting dots, drawing lines between pieces that didn't quite fit. Someone powerful destroyed her career 3 years ago. Someone sent Jimmy to make sure she stayed silent. And Damon Cross knew all of it. She moved to her bedroom closet, pulled down the box she hadn't opened in 2 years. Inside were files, documents she'd saved from her forensic accounting job, printouts of the irregularities she'd found, notes in her own handwriting. Tracy spread them across her coffee table. Her hands shook as she flipped through pages. Shell companies, circular transactions, money moving through businesses that looked legitimate on paper but felt wrong. She'd been preparing a report, documenting everything. Then suddenly she was accused of embezzlement and fired before she could finish. Now she knew why. Her laptop sat on the couch. She opened it, typed in the first company name from her files. Montclair Capital Group, LLC. The search results were sparse. A registered business entity, real estate investments, import and export operations. Nothing that screamed criminal enterprise, but nothing that felt clean either. She clicked deeper. Found a connection to another company, then another. A web of businesses all linked together. All moving money in ways that didn't make sense. Her phone rang. She jumped, nearly dropped it. Damon's name on the screen. "Hello? Are you okay?" His voice was calm, steady. "I wanted to make sure you're safe." Her throat tightened. "Ma, I'm fine." "You don't sound fine." "I'm just thinking about what you said, about Jimmy." Silence on his end. Then, "I know it's a lot to process. You said he was sent to watch me. That means someone's been tracking me for years. Someone who's still out there." "Yes." The single word sent ice through her veins. "Are they watching me now?" "No, I made sure of that." "How can you be sure?" "Because I'm watching you now." It should have scared her, should have made her feel trapped. Instead, something in his tone made her feel safer than she had in years. "Can you come over?" The words came out before she could stop them. "I need to talk to someone, and you're the only one who knows the truth." Another pause. "I'll be there in 20 minutes. He arrived with Chinese takeout. 2 bags of food that smelled like comfort and normalcy, things her life hadn't included in a long time. "You need to eat." He set the bags on her small kitchen counter. "You've been through a lot." "I'm not hungry." "You will be." He was right. Once the food was unpacked, her stomach reminded her she'd barely eaten all day. They sat at her tiny table, 2 people who barely knew each other, sharing fried rice and lo mein like it was normal. "This is strange," she said. "What is?" "This." She gestured between them. "Yesterday I didn't know you existed. Now you're in my apartment eating Chinese food and telling me my ex-boyfriend was a spy." His mouth twitched, almost a smile. "When you put it like that." "How would you put it?" He set down his fork. "I'd say we're 2 people trying to navigate a complicated situation." "That's very diplomatic." "I'm trying." Tracy looked at him across the table. Really looked. The controlled exterior, the careful words, the way he watched her like he was waiting for something to break. "You saw my files," she said quietly. His eyes flicked to the couch, the documents spread across the cushions. "I did." "Do you recognize any of those company names?" The pause was too long. "Some of them." "Are they connected to organized crime?" "Yes." Her chest tightened. "That's what I found. 3 years ago, I stumbled into money laundering for the Mafia. You were good at your job, too good. And they destroyed me for it. They protected themselves, that's what powerful people do." She stood, walked to the couch, picked up one of the documents. "Are you connected to them? To the people who did this?" Damon stood slowly, followed her, stopped 3 feet away. "Yes." The word hung between them, heavy, damning. "How connected?" "Very." Tracy's hands trembled, the paper crumpled in her grip. "Then why are you helping me? If you're part of that world, why protect me from it?" He moved closer. Close enough that she could see the conflict in his eyes, the war between control and something raw underneath. "Because I know what it's like to destroy someone's life." His voice was rough, honest. "And I'm tired of it." The vulnerability in those words hit her harder than any of his careful deflections. This wasn't the controlled mafia boss who'd broken Jimmy's wrist. This was something real. "You've destroyed lives?" she whispered. "More than I can count." "Does that include mine?" His jaw tightened. He didn't answer. Tracy stepped closer. She should be afraid, should be running from this man who'd just admitted he was part of the criminal world that had ruined her. But all she felt was the pull between them, the electric tension that had been building since the gala. "You should stay away from me," Damon said. "I'm dangerous, I'll only hurt you." "Maybe I'm tired of being safe." Her voice was barely audible. "Maybe I'm tired of running." "Tracy, everyone in my life has hurt me. At least you're honest about what you are." Something flickered in his expression. Pain or recognition. They were standing too close now, breathing the same air. She could feel the heat of him, could see the way his control was fracturing. "When this is over," he said quietly, "I'll tell you everything, every truth, every lie, everything I've done. I promise you that. Why wait? Because some truths are easier to hear when you're safe. His hand lifted, hesitated, then touched her cheek. Gentle, devastating. Tracy's breath caught. His palm was warm against her skin. His thumb traced her cheekbone with a tenderness that didn't match the violence she'd seen him capable of. I should go. But he didn't move. You should. Neither of them stepped back. His phone shattered the moment, loud and harsh in the quiet apartment. Damon pulled away like he'd been burned. Checked the screen. His entire body went rigid. What is it? Jimmy's been spotted, 2 blocks from here. Fear spiked through her. He's coming here? Not if I get to him first. He was already moving toward the door, calling someone on his phone, issuing orders in a clipped, cold voice. Tracy followed him. Damon! He turned at the door. The soft man who'd touched her face was gone. This was the predator, the one who'd broken bones without flinching. Lock this door. Don't open it for anyone. My security is outside. They won't let him near you. Where are you going? To make sure he understands what happens when he ignores warnings. He left before she could argue. The door closed. The new lock clicked into place. Tracy stood alone in her apartment, her cheek still warm where his hand had been, her heart racing with fear and something else. She was falling for a man who might be her enemy, and she couldn't stop. Her phone buzzed 5 minutes after Damon left. Unknown number. Tracy's finger hovered over the delete button. Then she saw the attachment. A video file. Her stomach twisted. She shouldn't open it. Shouldn't give Jimmy the satisfaction. She opened it anyway. The footage was grainy. Security camera quality. Timestamp in the corner read 3 years ago, August 14th, the day she was fired. Her old office building, the front entrance. Tracy watched herself walk out. Younger, professional, carrying a box of her belongings. Her face was devastated, mascara smudged. She remembered that day, remembered how the security guard had escorted her out like she was a criminal. The video continued. 30 seconds after she left, a man walked in. Tall, dark suit, confident stride. Damon Cross. Tracy's breath stopped. The video cut. To new angle, conference room. Damon sat across from 2 men Tracy recognized, her former supervisors, the ones who'd accused her of embezzlement. Damon slid documents across the table, shook hands. The men nodded. Professional, transactional. The video ended. A text appeared below it. Ask your protector who really destroyed you. J. The phone slipped from Tracy's hands, clattered on the floor. No, that wasn't possible. But the timestamp didn't lie. Damon had been there, at her building, the exact day her life fell apart. Her chest tightened. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think past the roaring in her ears. He knew. He'd known the entire time. Her phone rang. Damon's name lit up the screen. She stared at it. Let it ring and ring. It stopped. Started again immediately. Tracy picked it up with shaking hands. Where are you? Handling Jimmy. I'll be back soon. Are you okay? Were you at my office building 3 years ago? The words came out flat. Cold. The day I was fired? Silence. Not denial, not confusion. Just damning, terrible silence. Tracy, let me come back. I can explain everything. You were there. Her voice cracked. You knew. You've known this whole time who destroyed me. Yes. The word was quiet, broken. I knew, but it's not what you think. Then what is it? Tell me right now. Not over the phone. Let me see you. Let me explain in person. You've been lying to me from the moment we met. Tears burned her eyes. Everything was a lie. Not everything. His voice was raw. The way I feel about you, that's real. She laughed, bitter, painful. How can I believe anything you say? Tracy, please, wait for me. Don't run. Just let me explain. She hung up. Her hands were shaking so badly she almost dropped the phone again. The apartment felt too small, too hot. She couldn't breathe. A knock on the door made her jump. She looked through the peephole. Damon! He must have been close. Must have turned around the second she hung up. Tracy yanked the door open. You have 5 minutes. He stepped inside, looked like something had broken in him. The control was gone. The careful mask shattered. I was there 3 years ago, he said, at your building, the day you were fired. Why? I was meeting with your supervisors, delivering instructions. Her stomach dropped. Instructions to fire me? His jaw tightened. He didn't answer. Say it. Her voice shook. Say what you did. I gave the order. The words came out rough, forced. I had you destroyed. The room tilted. Tracy grabbed the back of the couch to stay upright. You framed me. Yes. You ruined my career, my reputation, my entire life. Yes. Why? The word ripped out of her. I never did anything to you. I didn't even know you existed. You found something. He moved closer. She stepped back. In the audit, irregularities that traced back to my operations. You were preparing a report. If it had gone to federal regulators, everything would have collapsed. The shell companies, the money laundering, that was yours. Yes. Tracy's legs gave out. She sank onto the couch. All these years, I've been trying to figure out who did it, who hated me enough to destroy everything. And it was you. I didn't hate you. I didn't know you. You were just a name in a report. That's worse. She looked up at him. I wasn't even human to you. Just a problem to eliminate. Guilt twisted his expression. You're right. And Jimmy? Her voice broke. Did you send him too? Damon's silence was answer enough. Say it. I sent Jimmy to watch you, to make sure you stayed quiet, to monitor if you tried to dig deeper. Everything clicked into place, every piece of her shattered life. You gave him to me, you put that monster in my path. He wasn't supposed to hurt you, he was supposed to observe, report back, that's all. But he didn't just observe, did he? No. Damon's hands clenched. He became obsessed, possessive. I didn't know until recently how bad it had gotten. So you're fixing your mistake. Tracy stood. I'm just cleanup. They damage control for your failed operation. It started that way. He moved toward her. She backed toward the door. But then I met you at that gala, and everything changed. You've been lying since the second you stood up. I stood up because I couldn't watch him hurt you. You already hurt me, her voice broke. 3 years ago. You hurt me worse than he ever could. I know. You touched my face. Tears streamed down her cheeks. You promised me truth, and all of it was built on lies. My feelings for you are real. How would I know? How could I possibly know what's real when you've been playing me this entire time? I wasn't... Get out! Tracy. Get out! She yanked the door open. Jimmy is your problem, your monster, your creation. You deal with him. But you don't get to stand here and pretend you care about me. I do care. You destroyed my life because I was convenient to destroy. You protected me because it was convenient to protect. None of this is about me. It's about you, your guilt, your control, your empire. Damon moved to the door. Stopped in the frame. You're wrong. Prove it. Leave me alone. Let me rebuild without you hovering over me like I'm some debt you need to pay. I can't do that. Not while Jimmy's still a threat. Then handle him. But don't come back here pretending we're anything. We're nothing. We were always nothing. He flinched like she'd hit him. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix what you broke. She slammed the door, locked it, pressed her back against the wood and slid down until she hit the floor. The sobs came then, raw, broken. Years of pain finally breaking free. She'd fallen for the man who destroyed her, and there was no coming back from that. Tracy didn't move from the floor for hours. Darkness crept through her apartment. She didn't turn on lights, didn't eat, didn't do anything except sit with her back against the door and feel the weight of everything Damon had confessed crushing her chest. He'd destroyed her. 3 years ago. On purpose. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table. She ignored it. It buzzed again and again. Finally, she looked. 2 messages from Damon. Jimmy didn't leave the state. He's still hunting you. Please stay inside. I'm working on making this right. I know I destroyed everything, but I'm going to rebuild what I took from you. Starting with your career. Tracy threw the phone across the room. It hit the couch and bounced to the floor. Rebuild. Like she was some broken thing he could fix with money and power. Dawn came eventually. She was still on the floor, body stiff, eyes swollen, heart hollow. She forced herself up, stumbled to the bathroom. Her reflection showed someone she barely recognized. 3 years ago, she'd looked like this, walking out of that office building with everything she owned in a box. Damon had done that to her then. He'd done it again now. Her phone rang on the 3rd day. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Miss Morgan, this is Rachel Chen from Hartley & Associates. We're a forensic accounting firm based in Manhattan. Tracy's throat tightened. How did you get this number? We received credible evidence that you were wrongfully terminated from your previous position. Evidence of fraud perpetrated against you. We'd like to discuss offering you a senior position with our firm. The room tilted. What evidence? Documentation proving the embezzlement charges against you were fabricated. We believe you were targeted specifically to prevent you from completing an audit that would have exposed criminal activity. Damon. This was Damon. We understand this is unexpected, but your credentials speak for themselves, Miss Morgan. We'd very much like to meet with you. Are you available this week? Tracy's hands shook. Yes, I'll come in. More calls followed, her professional license board reopening the investigation. A bank representative saying disputed debts were being resolved. Her credit report correcting itself like someone had waved a hand and erased 3 years of damage. He was fixing everything, with the same efficiency he'd used to destroy it. When Damon called, she almost didn't pick up. Tracy, his voice was rough. Did you get the interview request? How dare you? The words came out quiet, deadly. You don't get to play God with my life anymore. I'm not playing, I'm fixing what I broke. I don't want your guilt money. It's not guilt money, it's evidence, truth. You earned that position 3 years ago. They're just finally seeing it. Because you made them see it. Yes. No apology in his tone, just fact. And I'll keep making people see it until your name is cleared completely. Stop. Just stop controlling everything. Jimmy is still out there. His voice changed, harder. He's dangerous. He blames you for me firing him. Don't go anywhere alone. You don't control my life anymore. Tracy! She hung up. The interview was scheduled for Thursday. Tracy told the security guard outside her building she didn't need an escort. She was going alone. She was reclaiming her independence. The firm's office was in a high-rise downtown. Glass and steel. Professional. Legitimate. The interview went better than she'd expected. They showed her the evidence Damon had provided. Proof of the fabricated charges. Documentation of the fraud committed against her. We believe in second chances, Miss Morgan. Or rather, first chances. You never got the one you deserved. They offered her a senior forensic accountant position. Better title than before. Better salary. Better everything. Tracy accepted. Not for Damon, for herself. For the career she'd earned and lost and was finally getting back. Walking out of the building, she felt something she hadn't in years. Hope. She was calling a rideshare when someone grabbed her from behind. A hand clamped over her mouth. Cold steel pressed against her throat. Don't scream! Jimmy's voice in her ear. Hot. Desperate. Don't even breathe wrong. Terror flooded through her. She tried to pull away. The knife pressed harder. She felt it break skin. You destroyed my life. His breath was sour. Cross fired me because of you. Said I went rogue. Said I was a liability. I lost everything. Tracy's scream died in her throat. She couldn't move, couldn't think past the blade cutting into her. 2 men appeared from nowhere. Security, running toward them. Jimmy spun, using her as a shield. "Back off, I'll cut her throat." They stopped, hands raised. One spoke into a radio. "Code red, subject armed, hostage situation." A car screeched to a stop at the curb. Damon jumped out, gun drawn. His face was stone, cold fury in his eyes. "Let her go, Jimmy." "You did this," Jimmy's voice cracked. "You sent me to watch her for years, made me your spy, then threw me away like garbage." Tracy heard it, final confirmation. Jimmy had been Damon's from the start. "You were supposed to observe, report, nothing more." Damon moved closer, controlled, predatory. "You became obsessed. You hurt her. That made you useless to me." "I loved her." "You don't know what love is." The knife pressed harder. Tracy felt blood running down her neck, warm, sticky. "This is between us," Damon said. His voice was calm, too calm. "Let her go. Take me instead." "You think I'm stupid?" Jimmy laughed, broken, wild. "You'd kill me the second she's clear." "Yes." Damon didn't lie. "But at least you'd die like a man instead of a coward hiding behind a woman." Jimmy's grip shifted. Just slightly. The knife angle changed. Tracy dropped her full weight. Survival instinct. Her knees hit the pavement. The gunshot cracked through the air. Jimmy screamed. The knife clattered away. Tracy scrambled forward. Damon was there, catching her, his hands on her face, her shoulders, checking for damage. "You're okay, you're okay." He kept saying it, like a prayer. Jimmy was on the ground, chest bleeding. He won't survive the shot. Tracy touched her throat. Her fingers came away red. "It's not deep." Damon's voice was gentle. "You're going to be fine." She looked at him, this man who'd destroyed her, who'd just saved her, who was both her enemy and her protector. "You were following me," she whispered. "Even after I said no." "Yes." No apology. "I wasn't going to let him hurt you." Finally, Damon drove her home. Silence filled the car, heavy, complicated. At her apartment, he walked her inside, checked every room, confirmed security was posted. He stopped at the door, about to leave. "Why?" Tracy's voice cracked. "Why are you doing all this?" He turned. The control in his face fractured, raw pain underneath. "I'm sorry." The words came out rough, honest. "For 3 years ago, for destroying you, for sending Jimmy, for every single thing I did to ruin your life." It was the first real apology. No deflection, no excuse. "I can't undo it," he continued, "but I'm going to spend however long it takes rebuilding what I took. Your career, your safety, your future." "You think a job fixes this?" "No." His jaw tightened. Nothing fixes this, but it's all I have to give." Tracy touched the bandage on her throat. "And then what?" "Then I disappear. You take that job, build the life you deserve, and I stay out of it." "You're leaving?" "You need a life without me in it, without my world." His eyes held hers. "I'm giving you that." He walked away, didn't look back. Tracy stood in her doorway, hand on her throat where Jimmy's knife had been, where Damon's bullet had saved her. He'd just given her everything except himself. Jimmy's body was never found. Tracy knew because she'd looked, searched news reports, police databases, missing persons, nothing. It was like he'd never existed. Damon had made him disappear, completely. That truth sat in her chest like a stone, cold, heavy, undeniable. Weeks passed, her life transformed in ways she'd stopped dreaming possible. The new job at Hartley and Associates started with a corner office and her name on the door. Senior Forensic Accountant, the title she'd earned 3 years ago and lost in a single day. Colleagues respected her, clients trusted her. Her work spoke for itself now that the lies had been stripped away. Her credit score climbed, debts vanished. Her bank account showed numbers that made her breathe easier for the first time in years. Everything Damon had destroyed, he'd rebuilt, piece by piece, with the same efficiency he'd used to ruin her. But at night, she saw Jimmy fall, heard the gunshot, watched the blood spread. Damon hadn't hesitated, hadn't flinched, just pulled the trigger and ended a life like it was nothing. Then made the body disappear like Jimmy had never been real. Tracy touched the small scar on her throat. Faint now, almost invisible. But she felt it every time she swallowed. Security still watched her building. Different faces, same purpose. Damon keeping his promise even from a distance. She hadn't heard from him in 4 weeks. No calls, no messages, nothing. Until tonight. Leaving work late, Tracy saw the car. Black, expensive, familiar. Damon leaned against it, hands in pockets, watching her building like he'd been there for hours. Their eyes met across the street. Tracy's heart stuttered. She should go inside, pretend she didn't see him, let this distance stay permanent. Instead, she crossed to him. "Hi." His voice was rough, like he hadn't used it in days. "What did you do with the body?" The question came out before she could stop it. Damon's expression didn't change. "You don't want to know that. I need to know." He was quiet for a long moment. He's gone, completely. No one will ever find him. The certainty in his voice made her stomach turn. This was his world, making people vanish, erasing problems, operating in shadows where law and morality didn't reach. "You gave me everything back," her voice shook. "My career, my safety, my future. You deserved all of it. But I can't stop thinking about you." The confession escaped, raw, honest. "Even though I should run as far from you as possible." Something flickered in his eyes. Surprise. Or pain. "You saw what I am, Tracy, what I'm capable of. You should run." "I know." Tears burned her throat. "That's why this can't work. I wouldn't ask it to. I can't be with someone who makes people disappear." Her voice broke. "Even if you saved my life by doing it. I understand. And I can't ask you to leave your world, to be someone you're not." Damon moved closer, not touching, just present. "If I could be different for you." "But you can't," she cut him off. "And I won't pretend I can live in that darkness. Won't pretend I didn't see what I saw. You deserve light." His jaw tightened. "Someone without blood on their hands. And you deserve someone who can accept what you do." Fresh tears spilled over. The silence between them was heavy, inevitable. "Can we just have tonight?" Tracy whispered. "Before we say goodbye for real?" "Whatever you want." They walked through the city, past closed shops and late-night diners, talking about nothing important. Her new office, the weather, anything except what waited at the end of this night. At a 24-hour coffee shop, they sat across from each other. Tracy memorized details. The way he held his cup, the small scar above his eyebrow, the careful control in every movement. "Do you regret it?" she asked. "Killing him in front of me?" Damon didn't lie. "I regret you had to see it. I don't regret doing it. That's the difference between us." She set down her cup. "I understand why you did it, but I can't accept how easily you did it. I know. You're not a good man, Damon." "No, I'm not." "But you tried to make things right. That has to count for something." "Does it?" Tracy looked at him. Really looked. Saw the guilt he carried. The effort to rebuild what he'd destroyed. The distance he'd kept to give her space. "Yes," she said softly. "It counts." The hours slipped away. Dawn approached. Reality couldn't be held back any longer. Outside her apartment, they stopped. Final goodbye hanging between them. Damon's hands framed her face. Gentle. Careful. "You'll always be protected, even if you never see me again." "I'll live the life you gave back." She covered his hands with hers. "I'll make it count." She rested her forehead against his. breathing him in one last time. "Goodbye, Damon." "Goodbye, Tracy." He stepped back, walked to his car, drove away without looking back. Tracy stood on the sidewalk until his taillights disappeared. Then she went inside, locked her door, and let herself cry. 3 months later, her life was everything she'd fought for. Partner track, respect, friends, peace. She didn't date, wasn't ready, maybe never would be. A package arrived on a Tuesday. No return address. Inside was a first edition book, one she'd mentioned once in passing months ago. Tracy held it, ran her fingers over the cover. Knew without question who sent it. He was still out there, still watching, still making sure she was safe. She placed the book on her shelf, among others. A reminder of the man who destroyed her and rebuilt her, who loved her enough to let her go. At her desk the next morning, Tracy looked out at the city. Her corner office, her success, her life. As she touched the faint scar on her throat. Permanent reminder of the night everything changed. Some people save you but can't stay. Some loves are real but impossible. She turned back to her work, living fully, thriving, free. Somewhere in the city's shadows, she knew he was watching, keeping his promise, loving her the only way he could, from a distance. It wasn't perfect, but it was honest, and that was enough. The end. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more emotional mafia romance tales. Drop a comment telling me, would you forgive someone who destroyed you but gave everything back? I see every single comment.